Olivia Wilde's The Invite is the funniest and most cringeworthy dinner party I've ever sat through, and I mean that with all the compliments in the world. Welcome back to Movies Good, Internet Bad. I'm Corey. That's Shane. He's back from vacation.
I am.
Finally, thank God you don't have to deal with just me anymore. And this is our review of The Invite, the new movie from A24 and Olivia Wilde. Shane, I'm not going to bury the lead here. I thought this movie ruled.
I loved
Absolutely
it.
ruled.
Loved all of it. So we're both big fans of Booksmart
Yes.
and
Yeah.
Olivia
Yeah.
Wilde's
Yeah.
work on
Yep.
that film. Don't Worry, Darling was a bit of a step back, I think, in most people's opinions.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I really think the reason for that is probably because it wasn't a comedy. Uh, and
Fair.
this film
Yeah.
kind of carries on that tradition of Booksmart, where Booksmart was very funny, laugh out loud at times,
Hmm.
but also like had a dramatic edge to it, had an emotional core to it. You really
Yes.
felt the weight of it. And I think that's what set it apart. And this movie does the same thing. And, it's one of those films where handled differently or handled a little bit more comedically, it probably wouldn't have hit the same way.
Hmm.
The tone shifts are dramatic, but she
Very.
handles them with such deft. Like it is excellent, I think, across the board. It's one of my favorite films that I've seen this year.
Yeah, I think it's up there for me as well. I saw it with a full house, and she had them in the palm of her hand the whole time. Whether it
Yeah.
was a laugh riot or during some of those really quiet scenes, you could hear a pin drop in the
Mhm.
theater. It was great. People were really locked in, and it was really exciting. So, little bit of background on this movie. Obviously, directed by Olivia Wilde, stars Seth Rogen. Olivia Wilde is in it as well. Penelope Cruz and Edward Norton. Really big cast there, whole whopping four people, and it takes place in pretty much one room.
Yep.
The premise is uh, two folks that are married where the marriage is kind of on thin ice. They have a dinner party with an enigmatic pair of folks that live upstairs, and the night just kind of spirals from there. It's a remake of a 2020 Spanish film that's called The People Upstairs. It premiered earlier this year, I think either in January or February at the Sundance Film Festival. It ignited a massive bidding war after it premiered there. A24 picked it up, and it is finally here. And everybody's able to see it. Opened in limited release a couple weeks ago. It's in wide release now. Uh, Shane, without getting into too many spoilers to start, what was your favorite thing about this movie?
The last 15 minutes. And I don't want to
Okay.
spoil too much, but I think it's one of those movies where I really, really enjoyed it for the first 90%. And the last 10% made me think, oh, this is actually a fantastic movie.
Okay.
Like I was really enjoying it, but it was a little bit more surface level. And when it opens up the depth to the story, that's when it had me.
Okay. That's fair. I agree. I thought that the end of it was great. We'll get into that in the spoilers about whether it earns where it goes. For me, I thought Seth Rogen was an absolute revelation
He
in this
was.
movie.
He
I,
was.
I've always been a fan of his, and I've always enjoyed his work, going all the way back to Freaks and Geeks on NBC. I thought he's great in all the silly Judd Apatow comedies he's done. Obviously, uh, he's become a little bit more of a big player in Hollywood now. He's
Mhm.
he's behind shows like The Boys, Invincible, that are all big streaming shows. Obviously, he's in charge of the studio, which won all the awards
And
imaginable for its
also
first
has
season.
Olivia Wilde in it, and that's kind of how they connected was on that
Yeah,
that show.
and
Yeah.
but this one, I felt like he plays a little bit against his normal type, and he showed so much range to me that I didn't know that he had. Everybody knows Seth Rogen for like the
Yeah, and
laugh.
he's got that. He's got
Right?
that here,
It's
but I
there.
agree there's more depth to him
Yeah.
than just Seth Rogen, and I
Yep.
feel like the character itself lends itself. So from what I read, actually, they developed these characters with the actors.
Yeah.
So each of the characters was kind of vague whenever the screenplay was being written, and then they kind of worked with each of the actors individually to flesh out the character, flesh out backstory, flesh out
Yep.
motivation. And so it was kind of an interplay of everything. And so I think Seth Rogen here is playing kind of a Seth Rogen-y part, but he adds a lot more emotional depth. There's a lot more anger to him. There's a lot more sadness to him.
Sadness.
And that's not the
Yeah.
side that we get to see of him very often.
Yeah. He's usually the very slapsticky comedic person, and
Hmm.
this one, If you've ever been miserable before in your life for any reason, you can relate to Seth Rogen's character
Hmm.
in this movie. And if you've
Yeah.
ever felt stuck in what you're doing with no way to escape, you can relate to Seth Rogen's character in this movie. I thought he was fantastic. I would even go as far as to say, like, if people took comedies seriously anymore, that it
Yeah.
would potentially be like an award worthy performance for me.
See, it's interesting. I feel like there could be some award acclaim coming from this. Even though it is a comedy, I do think that given the names involved, like Olivia
Mhm.
Wilde is a big name now. She's a very talented
Oh yeah,
director. And, between Booksmart and this, I think people are going to take that a little bit more seriously. So like I could see some, I mean, to me, the standout, I love Seth Rogen, but I loved Edward Norton in this film a lot. Um,
man, he was
and
funny.
really, Olivia Wilde herself is
Hmm.
fantastic in this
Oh
film.
yeah,
Like, there's so many her facial acting is fantastic. There's one
dude.
shot in particular where Seth Rogen is in focus and Olivia Wilde is out of focus in the foreground, and she's making the most ridiculous faces that, like, I'm looking at the person out of focus,
Yeah,
which is,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
not like, that's a feat in and of itself, is that
Yep.
she's not meant to be the focus of the scene, but she's just stealing it
Yeah,
because of
man.
how great her performance is.
Yep. I think this is one of those movies, and I think we're going to talk about this next week with the Odyssey probably as well. I bet if you asked four different people what their favorite performance was in this movie,
Mhm.
you'd get four different answers because
Probably.
all four of those people are doing really great work
Yeah.
and are relatable in different ways that depending on what your life experience is, you can gravitate towards those characters.
Mhm.
I haven't seen Ed Norton in a whole lot over the last couple of years, and it was just really nice to see him back. And because he's one of the great actors of this generation, right?
Yeah.
Same thing for Penelope Cruz. And then, Olivia Wilde, her stock is rising. Seth Rogen has somehow become what he's become. I don't think the movie could have been better cast when you're looking for
Yeah.
just like a quartet like this.
Yeah,
So
it's one of those films that it's one location and 4 people talking for an hour and
yeah.
45 minutes, and you are just locked in the entire time,
Yep.
and that just it really goes to show. So before my showing, they showed the before, so at Alamo, they do their little, like, "Don't talk, don't text" thing,
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
and the one that they showed was from, I think it was just before Midnight came out,
Hmm.
and it was, Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy,
Yep.
and I was kinda getting, like, before trilogy vibes from this. Obviously, much more of a comedy, but, like, those
Yeah, a little
films are
bit.
literally just, like, an hour and a half of people talking,
It's a slice
and
of
and
life.
this is
Yeah.
what this is.
Yep. And the cool thing about it was that it didn't feel like there were any cuts where the time jumped, where it wasn't like, oh,
Right.
30 minutes later, now we're here. It basically just was 2 hours of four people's life, and then it was over. And that
Yeah.
was all there was to it. And I really hope a lot of people go see this movie.
Mhm.
Hopefully the star power of it all drives people to the theater. Like I said before, my house was full on a Saturday afternoon. I was
Yeah.
super excited to see that. So hopefully this one does really well, and we'll see where it goes. But do you want to get into some spoiler stuff now and talk
Yeah,
about
I
some?
I I think so. I would just say
Okay.
overall, if you are at all interested in this film, we both adored it, and
Yeah.
it's probably the I can't even think of the last comedy that I've seen in theaters that had this much audience engagement. Like, it was the
Yeah.
funniest film I've seen in theaters in a decade? I can't even tell you the last time. Like,
It,
comedies are kind of a lost art nowadays because they all get put on streaming.
yep.
So it's nice to see, like, a laugh out loud comedy in the theater, because
Yeah.
that's where comedies are best. Like, you're
And
laughing in a big room with a bunch of people also laughing, and it makes you laugh, and somebody laughs in a funny way, and then
and then
everyone's
everybody
laughing at
else
them,
laughs. Yep.
and yes,
Yep.
that is what comedies are for, and it's just we've totally lost the plot.
Yeah. And it just feels good to laugh.
Yeah. Everything's
Like
so freaking serious and
yeah,
dark.
everything sucks right now, and when you go to the movies, it's all heavy stuff, and this goes heavy and it goes dark, but
It
it
does.
does it in a very playful, light on its feet way that it'll make you almost cry 1 minute, and then 30 seconds later you're crying from laughter instead of the
Yeah.
the sadness of it all.
And
So
I really think Booksmart did the same thing, and that was really where I was like, "Okay, Olivia Wilde is a very talented director." There's a scene in that
yeah.
film where, like, the 2 main characters are arguing and the audio cuts out, and, it's like, just you stop hearing what they're saying and it's just playing music over it.
Mhm.
And then there's like a one take through the party thing. I was like, oh man, she's got the chops. And she does a lot of that same stuff here. There's some
Yeah.
great one takes. There's great sound design in and
Mhm.
out. Like I know we have already reviewed the film and we're going to spoilers, but like I can't say enough good things about not only the screenplay and how all the acting went, but the direction is just fantastic.
Yeah, and shout out to the screenwriting team behind
Toy
Check's
Story
Notes,
4.
Toy Story 4 for putting
Yeah.
together this remarkably adult comedy. So spoiler time for those who haven't seen the movie, check out now. Nice to see you. Like and subscribe. Thanks so much. Uh, let's talk about the last 15 minutes because you said that was your
Yeah.
favorite thing.
I
So hit me.
I think where this movie go elevates from haha, this is a good comedy to like, wow, this is a very moving film
Yeah.
is that last 15 minutes where they break down the walls of what they've been holding inside for the entire film
Mhm.
and they really just let loose on each other. And Penelope Cruz is kind of their therapist for a little bit,
Yeah.
and then she's, "Oh, but I'm not your therapist," but she kind of is in that moment, and I think that that spirit of the fight and then the reconnection, going back to where they first met, again reminded me so much of Before Midnight. Right, they started
Mhm.
in a musical performance. That's how they met, and they
Yep.
reconnected with a musical performance, and it's very similar to the end of Before Midnight, almost similar to the drama that happened
Yeah. Mhm.
earlier this year. It kind of reminded me of that. Also, A24,
Yep.
but
Indeed.
it's two films about love that kind of falls apart for a little bit and then comes back together.
So that was
And
the question for you is it hits the credits with kind of an ambiguous ending. What do you think? What's your theory on that? Did they
oh,
did
I
they decide to start over again
yeah,
and yeah, they hit reset on their
yeah,
life?
I think so. And then they go have sex with everyone upstairs.
All 10 of them.
Yeah, they got to. That's why the casserole bowl was left, right? Is
Sure.
because then they got to see them again.
Right, there's an excuse. Dude,
Yes,
that
exactly.
scene in the middle, it started with like, "Oh, it's 4." Well, then we did 6, and
Yeah,
then we
it's
did
up to
10,
10. Yeah,
and like, oh my god, it's so funny. But yeah,
that.
those last 15 minutes, man, there's a line in there where Olivia Wilde's character and Seth Rogen's character are screaming at each other,
Mhm,
right? And and she says to him, "You made the choice to be miserable."
mhm.
And as someone who has been very miserable at certain points in their life, that ain't a choice, man. That is like a weighted blanket that falls on you that you can't get out from underneath sometimes. And in the heat of the moment, to have someone cut at you with a dagger like that, dude, I felt so bad. And the way Seth Rogen's character just kind of like sits there and takes it, and
Yeah,
then he like literally kind of rolls his sleeves up a little bit before getting back into it. I was like, this is very good and very like real life type stuff. Like I know we
yeah,
go to the movies because we want to escape the real world and we want to see people in extraordinary situations, which is certainly something that happens in this movie. I don't think that the premise of this is something that happens to everyone all the time, but when you sprinkle in those very real moments, it really hits home. And I
yeah.
thought it did a great job during that last
Y
couple minute run.
Yeah, and I think where that scene was approached beautifully was both of them thought it was the other person's fault,
Yeah,
and there was no
real
there was
life.
right, exactly, yeah, and there was no thought of looking from their perspective, and once they kind of split apart for a little bit and came back together, I think they realized that
Hmm.
yeah, they're probably saying things that are a little bit true. Seth Rogen's character probably, in some ways wanted to be miserable. Right? I think some people once they get into this cycle of misery, then it kind of defines them and they're like, well, this is I finally have a place, right?
Yeah,
I can be that miserable person and like this feels comfy.
yeah.
Um and she kind of called him on that, but at the same time she was doing something similar, right, where she
Mhm.
gave up on her dreams and
Yep.
her entire life was just renovating the home
The
or
house.
buying things at Home Goods and like not doing anything with her life. And there's that scene where Penelope Cruz asks them like, would you have sex with yourself?
Yeah.
So why should you expect your partner to have sex with you if you wouldn't even if you don't find yourself attractive? And
But then Seth Rogen says,
yeah,
"Yeah,
that's
that's
all
all
I
I
do.
ever do."
Yeah. Oh,
Dude,
I
he
just
had so many good one-liners
the
throughout the
one-liner
whole.
about, like, next time you're
Jesus.
in there, count the rings, like,
Yeah.
I died. I laughed for a solid, like, 5 minutes at that, I
Oh,
kept going.
man.
Oh,
There
man.
was that one, and then, when they're all holding hands, when they're kinda making their sex pact or whatever, and Seth says something like, "I'd just like to request to not get pegged during this."
Yes.
It's just like, dude, you're unbelievable. Like, just
Yeah.
the timing, all of it was so funny. And then a funny anecdote story that I watched a little interview with Olivia Wilde, and the monologue that Ed Norton does towards the
Mhm.
end of the film, completely made up. Like, it wasn't in the script. It
Oh, it's
just says
improvised.
Hawk tells a story. And when they were putting it together, like you said before, they kind of worked with the actors on what they
Yeah.
wanted it to be. Um, he said, "I want to tell a story." And Olivia Wilde said that the first time they ran through it, they didn't have the cameras on him. They had the cameras on her because she had never heard the story before. He
Ah.
didn't run it by her. He did it, and it goes to this really dark emotional place, and it's like really sad. And then the line that Seth Rogen gives after it, where he says something like,
Ye
"Well, I'm sorry that your wife, who you wouldn't let peg you, died of cancer, and
Yeah.
now you have this person who will." Completely improvised.
Oh, man.
So, like, they're all just, like, rolling, making this movie. Like, that's, to me, that's the fun
That's the
of
magic. Yeah.
filmmaking, right? Like,
Yeah.
when you get people that have good chemistry, they trust each other, they're all working towards the same thing. That's how you get good stuff like this. And it
Yeah.
just, for me, it's been a summer of a lot of stuff I was really excited for that didn't quite get where I wanted it to. So it was really nice to go to a theater and just be blown away by something. And
Yeah.
hopefully that's the start of the rest of the year doing that, because the Odyssey comes out next week, and I really need that to be good.
Yeah.
So,
No, I agree with you, and really, and that's the magic of filmmaking, right? Is a lot
mhm,
of people tend to put a lot of the genius on one person, and there are so many little happy coincidences
yeah,
that happen along the way. I mean, when I was making my thesis film in college, there were plenty of lines that ended up in the film because it was kind of a comedy too, where they were not in the script. I
sure.
just kind of let somebody roll with it, or we got one take where they said something and I said, "Oh, actually keep that. Do
Mhm,
that next take." And it's more about just stumbling upon these little moments and
yeah,
then knowing where the genius is, because in this case you've got four tremendous actors and they're going to give you great things, like
yep,
Edward Norton giving that monologue, Seth Rogen giving his comedy. Olivia
mhm,
Wilde didn't write that, or Rashida Jones didn't write that in the script, but Olivia Wilde recognized, hey, keep that.
that's
That's the
good.
genius,
Mhm,
right? And that's the collaboration. And I think a lot of people, we like to the auteur theory of direction is,
yeah,
it's the single visionary. It's like, even those single visionaries, unless it's like Tarantino where he won't let anyone improvise, the improvisation happens everywhere, not
yeah,
just in the acting. The editors are improv, like the
mhm.
editor, the movie's made written three times. You write the movie,
You
you
shoot the
perform
movie.
the movie, and then you edit the movie,
Yep.
right? And so I think this is just a tremendous example of that.
And it's also a really fascinating U-turn from Don't Worry, Darling, because
Yeah.
that movie was filled with nothing but everyone hated each other. Nobody got
Yeah.
along. This person cheated on this person with this person, and it's
Right.
just like you start to wonder, like, is that a director I want to work for? Right, when
Yeah.
stories like that
Yeah.
start coming out, and then this is the complete polar opposite.
Hmm.
I go back to my whole thing that, like, every movie's a miracle, and it's even more of a miracle when something like this happens and it works at the level that it does.
Yeah, absolutely. I was really blown away by this. I know it got heavy acclaim coming out of Sundance, and
Mhm.
everyone was talking about it.
Yep.
It's just nice. Like I Booksmart is, I hold that movie in such high regard, and so it was good to see her get back into that, because it is rare in filmmaking to have a filmmaker that can go between sincerity and comedy so effortlessly. Like
Mhm.
I'm thinking about somebody like Taika Waititi, where he tries to do that, and I don't feel like he does it very well. He does it in some films very well.
Sometimes,
Other
yeah.
films, it like completely misses the mark. And Olivia Wilde has shown that she is so good at
Mhm.
going between the two.
It's a
And
tightrope walk. It's very
yeah,
easy to
hmm
shift too far in one direction,
exactly.
and then getting back to the other one, it feels like the audience is just kinda getting they're in 4DX, you know, they're getting bounced around like the movie scene, right?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I was just blown away by this one. I'm really happy you enjoyed it too.
Yeah, dude,
I
loved
mean,
it.
I have yet to find somebody that has disliked the film that's seen it. So
Yeah, straight up my alley. Any other thoughts on it before we take this bad boy
no,
home?
go see it.
Go see
It's
it.
if you're somehow in the spoiler section, and you haven't seen it, go see it. It's
Yeah,
fantastic.
definitely worth your hard-earned money. That's going to wrap it up for this video. We'd love to hear from you. Did you check out The Invite in theaters? If so, was your theater full? Was everybody laughing? Was everybody crying? Did Seth Rogen's jokes land with you? Leave us a comment below. Let us know what you think, and we'll answer every one that comes through. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And if you enjoy movie reviews, TV reviews, and 4K reviews, we have been covering House of the Dragon every Sunday. We're covering Silo. We had a bunch of movie reviews recently, and we're both seeing The Odyssey this week. We're both seeing it in 70 millimeter, and then you're seeing it in 143 IMAX, and then I'm seeing it in Dolby Cinema. So we're gonna have all of our bases covered for Christopher Nolan's next movie. So be on the lookout for that and so much more. And until next time, we'll see you guys in the next video.